Hi, everybody. Hi. Um, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's having a good week. My week is going really good. Things are getting a lot better, coming back to normal, and things like that. Today, I wanted to share something with you about what happened to me in regarding the miscarriage. And really, I wanted to tell a story about this, or tell the story about this, and about some things that have happened since then, and some changes that have come over me since then. And not bad changes, but good changes, some things I've realized, and some stuff like that. Um, One of the things I found out when I had this miscarriage is that about 30% of first time moms and women, period, have miscarriages. And that's a lot of people. And I was really kind of surprised. I hadn't heard that statistic before or anything. And I wish I had heard it. I wish somebody had said something. I wish more people would share their story. I know it's a painful story to share sometimes, but sometimes sharing the story makes you not feel so alone. Because one of the things, the first things you feel when it happens is alone, or this is just happening to me, although I did realize that this was probably happening to somebody else. But or you feel isolated, or you feel like it's your fault and stuff like that. And so for people to talk about what they went through. Now, I'm a true believer in going through pain and stuff, and it's a concept that a lot of people, they call it different stuff for different things, but really I don't believe in just trying to avoid what makes you uncomfortable. It's not always wonderful. It's not always what we want to do, but I'd rather face something than not face it. So go ahead and go through it, have the pain experience, and stuff. And I've talked about that in a blog before, about having the joy experience and really being fully into that, and having the pain experience and being fully into that, not avoiding it, not trying to act like it's not happening, because all that does is produce suffering, and stuff. And going into the pain experience helps you relieve the pain, helps you move on, and stuff. And as much as I love this child that was within me, I know it's not here anymore. And so I have to move on. And over the weekend, we had a memorial service at the request of my therapist, who I went in to see the other day, because I just thought I really needed to see him and talk about what I'd been going through. And he said, well, have you guys thought about having a memorial service, something to sort of talk about what happened and who this child was to you, and stuff. He said, many people, when they have a miscarriage, and he says, and he's recommended this to other families before, when they have a miscarriage or they have a stillborn child or something like that, he said they talk about it. He said they talk about it. He said because this person was a part of them. It's not like it's not there, and stuff. He said you love this child, so you want to give it a memorial, something to let it know that you know it's a part of you. So as it is, we thought the child was going to be a girl, and we had decided what we were going to name her. We were going to name her Laura Muriel Bird and stuff. And we had decided, and so we used all that during the memorial over the weekend and stuff. And it was during a celebration for my mom's birthday, but my mom's such an awesome person that she wanted to make sure that we all talked about it. But we also talked about other people we had lost in our family and stuff, and people that we loved. We talked about a family member who had lost a child at 5 months, and stuff. And the pain of losing a child, because yes, you think, okay, as an adult, an adult is an adult and stuff, and all that good stuff. But it's really different, regarding a child, because children aren't supposed to pass away. Children aren't supposed to die. That's the thought and stuff. And so it's really difficult. Older people dying, as painful as it is still something. Well, they've had a life, a rich life, and they've lived their life and stuff. And talking about that, and talking about other family members who have passed on and stuff, and the love that we felt for them and the celebration for their life. I want to talk about this because I don't want women who have suffered a miscarriage to think they're alone. I wish more women would talk about it. But in this country, we don't want to talk about nothing painful. We don't want to talk about pain. We don't want to discuss pain. We don't want to hear about your pain. We want everything to be happy, happy all the time. And that's just not how life is. Some things are painful and bad things do happen and stuff. And so it's as if when you grieve, you have to grieve in private or grieve in silence. And it used to be, and I saw this. This is a book that I was reading that my mom gave me after this call. It's called Good Grief, and that's the name. That's the name of the book. It's called Good Grief. If you can see it and stuff, let me see if I can. It's not so great, but yeah, there we go. Good Grief. And it's about how grief, although painful, can produce good things if we grieve in a way that we should be grieving, and stuff. But it used to be that, and it noticed something in this book, and I thought, that's so true. It used to be in this country that when you grieved, you could grieve in public. That when people lost family members, when women were widowed, they would wear black for, long periods of time, and men would wear black armbands to talk, to signal that they were grieved. But in this country, it's like nobody wants to talk about grief, or people want you to grieve so fast so they can move on and just, but you're supposed to grieve. It's a good thing to grieve. And I knew I was going to grieve this loss. And I read this book. This book is really little. So I read this book in all of a few hours and stuff. And it was really wonderful because many of the things it talked about I'd gone through. And there are different stages of grief. You go through them at different times. You may go through stuff at the same time and stuff. Grief lasts different spans for people and stuff, but it's not supposed to last forever. At some point, you're supposed to move on. And it's not like you lose the memory of who it is you love, but it's not like you hang on to that suffering and that pain forever either. There is a time when you think of them and there is joy and happiness. It is not about the loss. It is about the time that they were there. And I had a child for 2 months, and there was a lots of joy during that time. And that's what I want to remember. I don't want this to be about suffering or pain or the pain of the loss or something about that. I want to have this be about, that somebody was in my life and I felt a love I'd never felt before to this person, and stuff for these 2 months. And still feel that love, and stuff. Still feel that love. And so the thing that I thought that I would never be a parent, I was, because parenting starts as soon as you find out you're having a baby. Parenting starts. And all the stuff I share with you about being a diabetic mommy and all the stuff that I was doing was me parenting my baby and stuff. So, caring about my baby. And the thing is, there is no such thing as no risk. There was a risk of me having a baby. If I have a baby, there's still risk. If you have a baby, there's still risk. There's still stuff that can happen. Children get sick. Children, break legs. Things happen. Stuff happens, and sometimes children die and stuff. So there's still the risk. It never goes away. And so my mom was talking about how, really upset she was when she found out I was a diabetic at 7, how really upset she was. She was just upset and terrified, and she didn't know what to do and stuff. And she was just, and the doctor told her, and at the time when I got diabetes in 1979, at the time, you could manage diabetes, but it wasn't as if diabetics lived long. So the doctor told her that I would probably live to about 36 or 37, which my mom was horrified at. My mom just told me that like the other day. I'd never heard that story before. And she was just talking about how, horrified she was. And she was just like, what are you talking about? You're talking about me giving my child a death sentence, really, that they won't last. Now, I'm 40, and diabetes has come a long way. since I got diabetes in 1979 and stuff, and that's the wonderful part is that it's come a long way, and diabetics live for long periods of time and stuff, managing their diabetes and stuff like that. But I thought about the kind of horror that must have been for her thinking about her child being sick and maybe not being here for, a super long period of time and stuff, And so, there's no non-risk for this and stuff. And right now, my husband and I are discussing trying to have another child. And I think that's something we're going to do, but it may be a few months off before we try again and stuff. But one of the things I learned via this, and stuff is and got reconfirmed, of course, about myself was that I'm really tough and resilient. A lot tougher and more resilient than I ever thought I was and stuff. And that was something I learned first time when I got divorced. I learned how tough and resilient I was. And I learned once again that I'm really tough and resilient, but I'm also really sensitive and caring, and a lot more sensitive and caring than I've ever been in my life, which I know people are thinking, what? Yeah, it's just something that's come over me now that, my thought isn't always first about myself, and stuff. There's a thought about somebody else. Like I said, my thought when this happened was, although I was in pain myself, I thought about that somebody else was going through this situation, but they were alone, that they didn't have anybody. And I had support. And so my thought, and prayer went to them, who is dealing with this by themselves, alone, and stuff, or with a partner that's sort of absent and doesn't care, and stuff, or family members that don't care and stuff. And so my thought and heart went out to them. One of the things about me being a Christian is I've not been a Christian for a long time. Is I always wonder how much I've grown as a Christian. That's one of my thoughts and wonders all the time. Because most of life is not traumatic events all the time. Most of life is pretty mundane and kind of boring and pretty much the same thing every day and stuff. So it's not like you have all these traumatic events where you're growing and changing or realizing you're growing and changing. Most of life is just really sort of dull. And so usually when the events happen is where you realize how you might have changed or might not have changed in a period of time. And so, like I say, I've been a Christian about 10 years now and stuff. And my thought is, I wonder, had I changed? I wonder, had anything changed? And through this event, I realized I had grown a lot, that my faith had grown a lot, that, my compassion and care for others had grown a lot, that my trust in God had grown a lot. And it's like, well, how do you know? Will you, and stuff. Right now, I don't know. Although I prayed and asked God, I wonder why this happened, God, why did this happen? And stuff, I don't know. At some point, I may know, but right now I don't know. And my therapist was telling me that the uterus is a wonderful thing, and that it protects that baby, and it does no matter what. And it just may have been that this my body was like, I don't think you can do this right now. I don't think this can handle this is what's happening now and stuff, and stuff. And so, it's not for me to go around and blame myself and say what a bad person I was, and did I do this and did I do that and all this stuff. It's not that. I'm not wallowing in sorrow, and I'm not asking people to, cry and, for me and all this stuff. But I want people to know that this is, if you had a miscarriage or, had something like this, that you're not alone. And one of the reasons that I considered having a baby again is one of the weirdest things you'd ever think. I had some people I kind of knew tell me that they had had miscarriages before, which really sort of shocked and surprised me. I was still so surprised. I hadn't even heard about the 30% thing and stuff. But I was watching the TV and I was watching the thing about Beyonce's thing, and I'm not no Beyonce fan. I'm not a Beyonce nothing. I don't dislike her, but it's not like I'm rah 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 either and stuff. And she was talking about her miscarriage that she'd had and stuff. And before she had her baby, she had a miscarriage. And she had the same type of miscarriage I had, where one week you come in and the baby's fine, and then the next week you come in and there's nothing. There's no heartbeat, there's nothing and stuff, and you're just wondering what happened. And I thought to myself, I was just like, wow, you'd think somebody so wealthy and stuff would have the best doctors, this and that. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter. You could be the healthiest mom ever and still have a miscarriage, and stuff. And so it's sort of really that the uterus just is not ready for you then at that point to carry a baby. Doesn't mean it won't ever be ready, and stuff. But at that point it's not ready. It's not prepared. It's not, things aren't gonna work out, and that's okay. It's okay. And it's also okay for sometimes bad stuff to happen. That's okay. And so in her story, it just something just clicked in me. I don't really know what. Something just clicked in me and stuff. And it was a feeling of, and I thought, well, I'm not alone. I'm not by myself. I'm not the only one that's had this happen and had these feelings about what happened and stuff, and people wonder, well, when we just we're just a bunch of people that just want good and pleasure and all this stuff. That's just not how life works. Sometimes bad stuff happens, and it happens to everybody. The rain falls on the good and the bad. The sun shines on the good and the bad. There is nothing special about you that bad things won't happen to you, and stuff. It's how we deal with it that really says something about us. And I'm so grateful for my family. I just want to say that I'm just grateful, grateful, grateful. I'm so grateful for them. I don't know what to do. I thank God every day for them. I have the most wonderful family, and stuff. And I have the most awesome husband who is a gift from God. Really, he is. I don't know, how many people. And my mom was like, I know. She said, even her, she's like, I don't even know some of the stuff that you had to endure that I could have sat and watched, and stuff. And he was there. He was there doing everything. He was there all the time. He was never not at my side, trying to make sure I was okay and stuff. And so, how blessed I am to have him and stuff. And just, what a it's a sad time, but it was a sad time and it's a sad time. And there's still parts of me still grieving this, but there's parts of me too that are coming to, like I say, the points of really celebrating these times and knowing that, I had this life, and it was here and it was wonderful. And I don't want to forget that feeling. I don't want to forget the wonder and the awe and the this and that. The first time you see it, the fetus and everything. The first time you see the embryo, it's awesome. It's awesome. I don't want to forget that. I want that to be a part of my memory, and I don't want my memory to be just about suffering and about pain, and stuff. And I don't want to be stuck. I know I move on. It makes you a different person, grieving does, and all this stuff. And this makes you a different person. You're different. You're not the same. You won't go back to being the same. But the thing is, something good can come out of this. You know, out of even something that's bad, something good can come out of this. And I'm looking for the good, in this. I'm looking for the good in this. Because there's always good in the most painful of situations. Something good can come out of it and stuff. And I know people are thinking, well, yeah, even even the worst of situations, something good can come out of it in the end and stuff. And the good is that, I'm closer to my husband, than ever before. And I've learned something really awesome and great about myself and stuff. And I got to share in a life that was a gift to me. So that's not, none of that is a bad thing. Now, for the next couple of months, we'll be kind of out and about and doing stuff and going places and going on trips and stuff. And I think by the time maybe summer comes around, we may start trying again. I'm not really sure, but for now, we're just sort of settling back in and stuff, and things are going pretty well, going pretty good, and I'm just thankful, that they are going so well and stuff. But I don't want women. I just didn't. I wanted to tell my story because I know there aren't many stories. You hear too much about people talking about miscarriage and what happens and what people go through and stuff. But I want to share a story that I have because I think it's important for people to understand this isn't the end, and stuff. And you can celebrate this child's life. I can celebrate Laura's life forever, you know, and stuff, and always be a part of this family and stuff. She'll never not be a part, and stuff. And like I say, I didn't know if she was a girl, but everybody was so positive she was and stuff. And so that's what we were going to do. To me, always should be Peanut, but it'll never, like I say, it'll never be quite the same. But that doesn't have to mean it has to be bad. There's good things can come out of your grief. And I don't care what you're grieving about. This is a wonderful book. There's all types of grief people have and stuff. They just don't have grief about the loss of loved ones, and you have grief about the loss of job, a divorce, and stuff. Children moving out and moving away, changes in jobs and moving from a city and stuff. There's all kinds of grief. So it's a really good book if you might be having grief in your life on how to, what those stages are that you'll go through, and how to keep moving and moving on, to the good that can come out of your grief. I hope everybody has a really good day. I don't know if I'll be back later on this week, but I did want to come in and say this. I thank you all so much for sharing in this journey with me and stuff. I really appreciate all the love and the care and all the wonderful, the notes of care and concern about me for all my, all the folks I know on Facebook and all the people I know here, all the people, the readers and everything. You guys have been really, really awesome. I really thank you. You just do not know um, how wonderful and how much you helped me, and stuff, and really, 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 really took me into your hearts, and I thank you for that. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.